Let me drop some gospel for you, some facts. Fact number one, there are only 7 days until Christmas. Fact number two, you guys are probably watching the show because you're a little bit conspiracy fatigued. I know I am a little bit, as in you go to her show now and you just read the comments, kind of like I do. I can't watch her entire show now. I have to read the comments. I'm addicted to the comment section on Candace Owens' channel. There are thousands and thousands of people asking Candace Owens, why the change? What happened to you? Are you a clone? What's going on? Another fact, I am the only channel that is talking about Nick Reiner as being innocent. I'm the first one, the first channel to talk about the idea that Nick Reiner is innocent. And as far as I know, I'm the only one. But it won't be for very long. There's going to be other channels down the road that will start saying the same thing as what I am. That Nick Reiner has been framed for murder, a double homicide of his parents, Rob and Michelle Reiner. I'm going on record to say that because then you can come back to this channel and say, you know what? It's kind of interesting that the Black Swan was the only one on the planet that said Nick Reiner was innocent. The only one. Go check all the other channels. Nobody is saying Nick Reiner is innocent, which to me, that is a Black Swan event in itself. That the all media outlets 100% say this is a closed case. This is a done deal. Nick Reiner murdered his parents. 100%. They all say the same thing. So when all the news networks, media outlets, YouTube channels, when everybody says the same thing, almost down to the same script, you have to be a little bit suspicious. You have to start asking the questions, why is everybody saying the same thing? Why is everybody in agreement? What happened? Is it because it's easy to pick on people that have went to rehab and peg them as, hey, this person has a mental illness, therefore, ergo, they are murderers? Is that what we've come to? No, Shane. It's what the news says. They say he's mentally ill and he had it out for his parents. You believe that? You honestly believe that? That media outlets tell you the truth 100% of the time? Or is there something else up? Is there something else up? Folks, we're just getting started. You don't want to miss this episode at all because I have a real clincher at the end of this video. You don't want to miss this. Welcome to Black Swan Revelations.
In a dark world, remember to be the light. Welcome to Black Swan Revelations. Here is your host, the Black Swan himself, Shane.
All right. So we're going to begin piecing this stuff together because my goal is to cause some reasonable doubt. To cause you to go, Shane is making a great point here, something that I haven't seen, and perhaps I would change my mind now. If I were in court, I would change my mind and I would start to lean in the direction that perhaps, just perhaps, Nick Reiner is innocent. And I'm going to show you some video clips from various channels, various media sources, and we're going to hear what they're saying right now, because we have to document this stuff. Otherwise, it's going to change. They're going to change their tune. And again, this is what Candace Owens should really be talking about. This is what Tucker Carlson should be talking about right here, right before our very eyes, is one of the greatest scandals known to mankind, and that is the framing of Nick Reiner. And I'm going to prove it in the upcoming episodes, starting with today. But we have to go through the narrative as to what they're saying, and then I have to start punching some holes in it. So if you like this type of investigative journalism, where people are innocent until proven guilty, which is this is how it works in Canada and the United States. You're not presumed guilty. You're presumed innocent until you're proven guilty. So we're going to go through this piece by piece. Buckle up, folks. That's all I can say is buckle up. Let's go to our first clip.
Let's talk about the latest in the Rob Reiner murder, the horrific double murder in which the couple's son, Nick, is in custody. This time yesterday, bail had been set at $4 million, and we criticized that on this show, saying that's not going to do it. And sure enough, bail was revoked. There is no bail set for him. He needs to remain in custody, where now they are reporting, TMZ, that he is on suicide watch.
Okay. So right out of the gate, the main source that Megyn Kelly is going to be using is TMZ, another satire outlet, news outlet, if you will. It's kind of like People's Magazine. They report latest news, conspiracy, all kinds of stuff. They talk about everything under the sun, for Trump, against Trump, political stuff, everything. So that's where, whenever you hear TMZ, that's their source that they're using. This is the source that Megyn Kelly is quoting from. So somebody's idea of what they saw happen from their sources. So if we're going to play that game and say, from a source, this is my source, and keep it secret and whatever, I'll play that game as well. I'll say crazy things and say, this is from my source. And then you can decide if it's true or not, because this is what people are doing now. Candace Owens has been guilty of doing it. My source says this, and I'm not going to reveal the name of my source. It's like, okay, now it's kind of like a he said, she said. So I'm going to play the same game, but just so you know, when I say my source, I'm talking about these various media clips, because I've watched so many interviews. They start to sound the same. Like the same script. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my best to document whenever somebody says something different or something new or whatever it is. Other than that, it's going to be mixed as here's a source, because that's what they do. But I'm going to try my hardest to locate these various media outlets and play what they say. That way there's no confusion. Confused? All right, let's continue.
And in an administrative segregation, they call it, at Twin Towers Correctional Facility in L.A. The night before his parents were murdered, Saturday night this past, Nick got into a very loud argument with his father at Conan O'Brien's Christmas party. The shouting match was loud enough that many others could hear it. That Rob and his wife, Nick's mother, Michelle, then left the party. We do not know if Nick left with them.
Okay, so we have an argument, allegedly an argument. This is TMZ TMZ saying that people at the party said that Nick was arguing with his dad, Rob, and his mom, Michelle. And then after a while, because believe it or not, people leave parties. They go, they arrive late, they leave early, whatever it is. Maybe they got other things to do, but people do that. So, no crime here so far. This is just he said, she said. People said, according to TMZ, that Nick had an argument. We don't know if that's factual or not yet. We don't know. We can't submit that as evidence for committing a crime. We can't. Because we know as a parent, sometimes you're going to have a disagreement. And there's another rumor from a source that said that Nick was asking for money for a new film project, not for drugs, for a film project. Because this is what people do at events like this, at the Christmas party held by Conan O'Brien in LA. This is what people do. They schmooze with other people and they say, hey, I have a movie idea. I have a script idea. It doesn't always have to equal drugs. This is going to be the narrative. Listen for this. Mental illness, drugs. He did it for drugs. He's mentally unstable. He's going crazy. They heard him. It's he said, she said. It's hearsay right now. It's not factual. To get a news outlet like this, a entertainment channel like Megyn Kelly's show, to quote another source interviewing other people, you can't do that in court. Let's continue.
Reports TMZ. A source at the party told us Nick looked out of place at the party, mostly keeping to himself. And there was more on that in today's reporting. Then this just broke. Hold on before I move on to this. So there's so much to tell you.
You can't say that he looked out of place. He looked disheveled. He looked uncomfortable. You can't use that as evidence for somebody murdering someone. That's not building a case for that. All that is you're basically assassinating Nick's character. And if you assassinate it enough, now you're tainting the jury to say, oh yeah, Nick had it out for his parents and all this kind of stuff. You're going after his character, and I don't think that's right to do that. I'm just right out of the gate. I'm saying I don't think that's right to do that. And this is what everybody is doing. They're all saying the same thing.
Stand by. Let's see. Fox News Digital reporting Nick Reiner was, quote, not medically cleared to appear in court today, which he was supposed to do. His lawyer, Alan Jackson, that's the guy who represented Karen Reed and got an acquittal for her. He's got a much tougher battle on this one.
Okay, we're going to talk about Alan Jackson later. But this is important because he was not fit to go to court. Why? Because his parents were murdered. Why can't we give people time to mourn the loss of their significant loved ones? Their parents, their children, their friends, their family. You would be distraught if both your parents were found murdered. Of course, he's not going to make it into court. He is distressed about his parents being killed. Now, if you're leaning on the side, no, Shane, he's a murderer. He is not going to mourn the loss of his parents, whatever it is. That's you throwing in something like that. That's you making that up. I'm saying normal people, if their parents were found slain, they're going to mourn that loss. It's going to shock them to the core. And I believe this is what's happening to Nick. He got arrested, not knowing why. And all of a sudden, they're telling him it's because you murdered your parents. That is going to shock you to your core, especially if you didn't murder your parents. You have to take that into consideration. If we're taking it into consideration that he is innocent, that he never murdered his parents, then it makes more sense that this is the reason why he couldn't go to court right away. He just lost his parents, his dad, whom he loved, and has been on record to say, I love my dad. I love my parents. And we don't have any instances where he said he didn't love his dad. As far like all the research that I've found, I haven't found anything where they're coming against each other. In fact, I find the opposite, that they're working together. Let's continue.
Right, I saying, quote, he is not medically cleared to be transported to the court. That's an obvious reference to his mental health. Nick, 32, did not appear before a judge on Tuesday, the first time he was scheduled to appear since the bodies of Rob and Michelle were discovered.
Okay, remember how old he is, too. He's 32. Hang on to that. Put that on the shelf.
Tuesday's hearing was postponed for another date. Now there's reporting about what happened at his hotel room, how those who checked him in said they didn't see blood all over him or cuts on him. There was nothing obviously wrong with him. But when the police made their way over to his hotel, they found a lot of blood on early Sunday morning in Santa Monica. He was staying at a place called the Pier Side, and he checked in around 4 a.m. Sunday. So the murder apparently was already done using his credit card. His check-in came hours after the heated argument at Conan O'Brien's Christmas party. Eyewitnesses said he did seem tweaked out when he checked in, but no visible signs he'd been in a violent confrontation, no blood stains or cuts on his body. The reservation was made for just one day, but he never formally checked out.
Okay. Lots to unpack here. Nick Reiner checked in at the Pierside Hotel, 4 a.m. Witnesses there, as in the people that checked him in, said there was no visible signs of trauma, blood, no evidence that he had been in a fight, a struggle, nothing like that. Nothing out of the ordinary. And this was allegedly, according to what Megan just read, from a report from TMZ, who got their sources. You see how far this goes? So far, Nick is not guilty. He is innocent so far. Even the people at the hotel said, no, there's nothing. He just seemed wigged out. I think somebody added that in to say that he's wigged out. That doesn't make you a murderer. And allegedly, this is him checking in on Sunday after the murder of his parents. So my question to you is, when did he have time to clean himself up to not show any sign of stress or blood or anything like that at all? Checked into the room, and then he did not check out, but he left. Probably to go have lunch, probably to go buy groceries. Who knows why he left? People leave hotels. They just do. And then mysteriously, the police show up and infiltrate his room, and they say that they found the shower had blood in it. There was blood footprints all over the floor. And there was curtains full of blood hanging or over the windows. Like there was curtains over the windows. And this was also reported by the maid, saying that when we went into the room to clean it, they found blood everywhere. And most likely reported it to the police. And the police came in there and investigated and said, yep, there's blood everywhere. So there's a timeline gap here, Because when you check into the room, if it's Sunday morning, and I'm coming from the experience, I used to manage a hotel for 4 years. I used to clean the rooms. I did everything. We did the books, we booked people in, we booked weddings, took reservations, cleaned the rooms, everything. I took pride on that. The place was in Langenberg, Saskatchewan, the Langenberg Country Inn Motel. I managed it with my wife, both of us. We took care of everything. We did the laundry, we changed the sheets, the bedding, everything. If somebody checks in, I don't go into their room until the next day. And really, if they don't want us to go in the room, they could put a little sign on the door saying, do not disturb. And then you just leave it. As in, don't bother cleaning up our room. We hardly used anything. Just leave it alone. Just leave it. And we usually knock on the door to make sure nobody's there. But that's the next day. You don't do it the same day. It's weird. Unless they call you and say, hey, could I have some extra towels? Or there's no coffee in the room or whatever it is. But otherwise, there's no reason for me to go into that room as soon as they leave. It's weird. You don't go in, period. You knock first, and you obviously they know that every single morning the house cleaners, house guests, basically not guests. What am I trying to say? I just forgot. But basically, the people that are cleaning the rooms, they come around, they knock on the doors, and they say room service or whatever, and they're cleaning. Right? We're cleaning the rooms, and you tell them either go away, or I'm leaving in 5 minutes, or you put the do not disturb on the door. That's usually what happens. So there's a gap here is my whole point. There's a gap because they're saying that the maids went in and checked the room and found all this stuff. And then the cops came. There's a gap. That doesn't happen the same day is what I'm saying. So arguably you could say it happened Monday that the cleaners went in and noticed all this stuff. But they're saying that there was no sign of any type of fight or anything at the hotel when Nick checked in. Let's go back.
When the staff came into his room later Sunday morning, they found the shower full of blood on the bed. The window in the room was covered by bed sheets, and the cops eventually went and gathered evidence there. The report on the argument at Conan's party, many people noticed he was behaving strangely. He was, quote, freaking everyone out, acting crazy. He kept asking people if they were famous, a source told People magazine. Per TMZ, after behavior at Conan's house alarmed the guests because it was so bizarre.
I accidentally hit pause on the record, so let me just back that up. I meant to hit pause on her saying this. Let's play it again.
He was, quote, freaking everyone out, acting crazy. He kept asking people if they were famous.
Okay, so again, this is hearsay. This is people at the party, allegedly at the party. We don't know. Again, this is just hearsay saying he's acting crazy. He's walking around going, are you famous? Are you famous? It's weird. Again, it's to try and build this up that, hey, let's just go past the idea that the cleaners came in that morning after Nick checked in. That's weird. That doesn't happen. That's what I'm trying to tell you. A narrative is being built by TMZ that all these other social media channels are running with. They're running with this. It's weird, man. Okay, let's continue. So blood on the curtains, blood in the showers, blood all over the carpet. Let's continue what this source said.
Source told People magazine. Per TMZ, after Rob Reiner and Nick got into a, quote, very loud argument, the director and Michelle left. That his behavior at Conan's house alarmed the guests because it was so bizarre. One of the guests recalled Rob Reiner telling his son his behavior was inappropriate. Nick Reiner's behavior looked anxious. He looked uncomfortable in a way that deeply unsettled one guest and another attendee. So,
one guest and an attendee, deeply settled. So again, let's just pretend that this is even half true. That doesn't tie you into being a double homicide murder. That doesn't. That's not evidence to say, oh, if you go to a grocery store and you buy something and you're upset at the price, and it's like, oh man, these prices are too high. And then it's like, oh yeah, well that's the reason why this person is a murderer. That's not how it works. What they're trying to do is they're trying to make you believe that this guy was like some deranged, mentally ill psychopath. And they're building up this narrative through sources that we don't know exist. It's through another outlet saying that they found someone that said this at a party. It's weird, man. It's weird. I'm telling you, it's weird.
then you have this from Billy Bush, who, of course, is a great entertainment reporter in particular.
Okay, pay attention to this. Pay attention to this.
Weighing in on the fact that Romy Reiner, who is, I think, only 19 or 20, she's the one who found her parents with their throats slit.
It's awful.
And
Look at how they all look. Oh, devastating. Oh, all of them. Anyways, let me just back that up again. Sorry, I get a little bit cynical, but the reaction seems too scripted.
is, I think, only 19 or 20. She's the one who found her parents with their throats slit.
It's awful.
And bodies stabbed multiple times. And there's new information in this soundbite. Listen here from Billy Bush.
I got this from a friend who lives in the community.
From a friend. See, I got this from an unnamed source, from a friend who lived in the community. This is from Billy Bush.
I heard that the son, Nick, went into his parents' house, stabbed both mom and dad, and that the daughter, I guess, lives on the property or at the house or in the back house, and that she found them, and that the mom was still alive, and apparently she called the ambulance and went in the ambulance with her mother. Michelle died in the ambulance, but had enough time to tell her daughter that it was Nick, their son, who stabbed them, and that's why they figured it out so quickly, and he's in custody.
Okay, if you believe this, I have some yellow snow for you in Canada. If you believe this, I forget what the term is called. Let me just go back to this, and I want to get through this part. I want to get through this to you guys. So again, the daughter, Romy, found her parents stabbed and with their throats slit. Oh, horrible. Yes, it is horrible. It is horrible, for sure. But it's even more horrible if you're a liar about this. It's even more horrible if you are lying about this case right out of the gate. If you're lying about your brother, that's more horrible to blame this on your brother. So I'm taking Romy and I'm putting it on the shelf to come back to this in another episode. We're going to visit this because if we're going through the family and we're saying if the parents were murdered, who are the people that either had something against the parents and why and all this? We got to go through the children, right? Isn't that fair? That's why we're basically saying Nick did it. Okay, well, what about the sister? Is it possible that perhaps she could have been an accomplice to this? Is it possible at all? You're saying no? No, Shane, 0. 0 for Romy, 100% for Nick. Really? Let's continue here. I'm going to come back to this.
My God.
Yeah.
Romy's 28, FYI, but that's a critical piece of the prosecution's case right there, you guys. If it's called a dying declaration. It comes into court, even though it's hearsay because it's an out-of-court statement by someone. But a dying declaration comes in over hearsay objections. So if Romy Reiner is actually going to take the stand and repeat that her mother told her as she lay dying that it was Romy's brother, Nick, oh my God, he's toast. And
Okay. There's more to this, folks. There's more to this. All right. So, because I want to keep this show tight so that you guys come back, I got more. But what if I told you that just because somebody says on their deathbed that it's called a dying declaration, saying that, hey, this is my final words. This person killed me, or that person killed me, or I've been poisoned, or whatever it is. If there are no witnesses, the jury has a chance, including the court, to say this is just hearsay. They have a chance to do that. As in, it's Romy's word against anyone else. Because the paramedics didn't say that. They didn't hear, which is odd, because you'd think if a paramedic said, when we put the mother that was still alive in the ambulance and she said, Nick did it, I would tell the authorities this is what happened. A dying declaration. But this is Romy saying this, that's what she heard. We also have another story, and I believe this a little bit more than the Romy going into the ambulance with her mother still alive. Because again, the parents were murdered in their sleep. They were stabbed multiple times. Both their throats were slit. Right? That's the narrative. They were murdered in their sleep. Oh, horrible. Yes, it is horrible, but stick to the facts. They were murdered in their sleep. Stabbed multiple times. Throat slit. Another story that is taking more ground is the fact that a massage therapist knocked on the door of Rob and Michelle's home, and when there was no answer, she called Romy. And when Romy came to the house, because she was not inside, as far as we know, came to the house with another friend that did not go inside with her. Romy went inside and saw her dad was murdered and came out and told the maid, but she was not aware that her mother was murdered. Folks, we got a conspiracy now. Because now Romy is telling two different stories according to two different sources. One is saying a housemaid came to the door, knocked on it, a massage therapist. When they didn't answer, she called Romy. Romy came there with a friend, went inside, discovered that her father was brutally murdered, and said that she was unaware that her mother was also murdered. Didn't know. Didn't see that the mom was murdered. So there's a conflict of stories here now. Now we get the idea that, oh, well, maybe the mother wasn't in the bed when Romy went there. But Romy just said that her mom was just on her last breath, said Nick did it. Folks, this rabbit hole is deep, and this is only going to be worse. It's only more stuff is going to come out. I am sure of it. But let's go now to Alan Jackson. Let's hear a statement from him. Again, we got two conflicting stories now from Romy, from other sources, because the story is weird. Right out of the gate, it's weird. So now we have Alan Jackson, who has taken on this case. And you got to understand, Alan Jackson does not take cases unless he thinks he can win. He's that good. He takes the case. He goes, yeah, I could see some indiscrepancies here. Something is not right. I'm going to take this case on. And in fact, we're going to go through everything, and I need time to do it. So listen to what Alan had to say. Okay, before we go to Alan Jackson, I think it's important to go to this video clip. This is from US Weekly. This is basically Rob Reiner's daughter found his body. Didn't know mom Michelle was also dead. This came out a day ago. So let's just play what was said here. And I'm going to mute the music. I don't need to get a copyright strike, but I'll just play this. I'll read it to you. Rob Reiner's daughter, Romy Reiner, discovered his body but did not realize her mom, Michelle Singer Reiner, was also dead, according to a new report now. The New York Times reported on December 16th that Romy made the tragic discovery on December 14th. Parents failed to open the gate to their Brentwood, LA home to a massage therapist for a scheduled appointment. The massage therapist called Romy, who went to her parents' home with her roommate, and discovered her father's body. Per the Times, which cited a person close to the Reiner family who wished to remain anonymous, according to their report, Romy's roommate, who was waiting outside, called 911. So it was Romy's roommate. Romy reportedly did not see her mother's body and learned of Michelle's death from responding paramedics while she waited outside. So she found her father. Her roommate called 911. She couldn't find her mother. Paramedics came in, found her mother, and said she's dead. That's a different narrative than what we had saying from Megyn Kelly reading a TMZ report that she said, Nick did it. Nick did it. Folks, this is not over. This is far from over. I'm telling you. Let's see what else here. Per the Times, Romy told authorities that her older brother, Nick, 32, also lived on the property with their parents. Nick was charged Tuesday with 2 counts of first-degree murder in connection with the murder. Parents' deaths, LA District Attorney Nathan Hochman announced. So, she told the authorities, you should check my brother. He would be suspicious. And so they did. And they arrested him right away out of the gate because of Romy. So now we have 2 stories. Romy said she went in an ambulance, according to one source, TMZ, that was read on Megyn Kelly's show. And now we have another source from U.S. News saying that, and I lean to this one. This one seems more factual than going into an ambulance and saying, Nick did it. Dying declaration, because that can taint the jury as well. And to throw out stories like that are not true by Billy Bush, not true, and then Megyn Kelly says this, who has a massive audience, and then we get this story that actually what happened was a massage therapist, and all you have to do to confirm the receipt of that is to go to the logbook or the calendar of the massage therapist, and then she can say, yes, look, I was supposed to come in to their place and give them massage therapy or whatever at this time. And then Romy shows up with her roommate, and then her roommate calls 911, not Romy. And Romy didn't know that her mom had passed. The paramedics told her that. And then she tells the authorities when they get there, to the police, that, hey, it's probably my brother. Probably him. You should go check him. It's not us. Go check him. I think Romy is suspect. Okay, now let's go to the video clip of Alan Jackson.
Complex and serious issues that are associated with this case. These need to be thoroughly but very carefully dealt with and examined and looked at and analyzed. And we ask that during this process you allow the system to move forward in the way that it was designed to move forward, not with a rush to judgment, not with jumping to conclusions, but with restraint and with dignity and with the respect that this system and this process deserves and that the family deserves. So with that, we are set for January 7th for an arraignment. That's the next court date. And that's all I have to say at this point. There may be more at some other point, but today we're going to rest on where we stand procedurally, which is this was a continuance of an arraignment. Nothing happened today substantively. We'll be back for an arraignment in the same department on the 7th of January. We'll see you then. Happy New Year.
Okay. So basically, the court date is pushed till January 7th, where he's going to start presenting the case. I think that's where we're going to stop, but I'm telling you, you don't want to miss tomorrow's episode. Why? Because we're actually going to go through the timeline of Nick Reiner, and we're going to start piecing things together, and I'm going to show you some shocking footage that you're not going to miss tomorrow in regards to where Nick Reiner was. You don't want to miss this, I'm telling you, folks. Again, this is the only channel that's talking about the idea that Nick Reiner is innocent. I'm the only one. I'm the lone wolf on here. So I'm asking you guys, if you have any tips or anything as well, you could always email me at blackswandiary2022@gmail.com. And we're also going to be diving into a little bit more of the relationship between the Obamas and Rob Reiner. You don't want to miss tomorrow's episode. I'm telling you, this is not what you think. Like, if you're thinking that Nick did it, I'm going to build a stronger case tomorrow that what was going on behind the scenes, quite possibly with Rob and the Obamas, it's not always evil. Like, I know you guys are like, oh no, like the Obamas are involved. They murdered Nick. That's not what I'm saying. Michelle and Barack Obama do not like Donald Trump. That is on record. They don't get along. We know that. Rob Reiner has been on record to say that he does not like Donald Trump. And I'm putting it lightly. He went on record to say he actually hated Donald Trump and what he's doing. The lies that Donald Trump has told. And we're going to talk about that in tomorrow's episode. And I'm telling you, there is more evidence, I think, leaning towards the president of the United States quite possibly being involved in this in some way. There's something going on here, and I'm going to continue to dig up all these stones. And again, I'm a huge fan of Donald Trump. Look at this. I have all of his books. This cover here, let's see if it says it here. This cover was actually taken. This picture, let me just see if I can find it real quick. Hopefully I can find it. Who is it here? Let me see here. Thought I could find it. Usually, let me see here. Not here. Okay. Speculation. I guess I got to go to speculation. Thought I could find it real quick. That Michelle Reiner actually took this picture for Trump, the art of the deal. That's the through my source. I'll just say source out there. I'll try and back that up in the next episode. But that's the rumor right now, that she actually took this picture. So they actually knew each other. The Trump family knew Rob and his wife Michelle. The Obamas knew and loved and adored Rob and Michelle. And in fact, on the day of the murder, they were supposed to have dinner. I wonder what they're talking about. Could it be perhaps that Rob Reiner was working on a new movie about Donald Trump? Is it possible? Because there's a movie that is out now called Shock and Awe. And that's all about the Iraqi war and the government and all the shadiness going on here. And it's too much of a coincidence to let this go, that all of a sudden Rob is talking bad about Donald Trump and all of a sudden he's dead, murdered, both of them murdered. And they're putting the whole blame on Nick. So I'm telling you, you don't want to miss tomorrow's episode. This is going to explode. And the more people that start digging into this from the perspective that perhaps Nick was framed, you're going to start to see stuff coming out. But I want you guys to know, I'm the first one to talk about this. I'm the first channel that's going against the grain to say this about Nick Reiner, that he actually is innocent. And it's going to come out down the road. I don't know when, probably in the next days. We're going to find out more stuff about Romy. I don't trust her. I think there's something up with her. I don't know about their other sibling. I'm going to investigate that. I'm going to dive deep, but I'm also going to dive into some of the things that Donald Trump has said about Rob Reiner. Saying, I never liked the guy. Never liked him. Why? Because he doesn't like you. He's coming against all your policies. And Rob Reiner has a lot of influence in Hollywood. I don't think they're not going to take this stuff lying down. I'm telling you, man. I'm actually surprised that other people aren't talking about this like this, that there's more that meets the eye. I'm surprised that Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens aren't all over this stuff. Like I think I could be honest in saying that we're a little bit fatigued with the Charlie Kirk murder investigation, assassination investigation, because it seems like it's going around in circles, and something changed with Candace Owens that we can't put our finger on. And so now people are gravitating towards her channel to just read the comments, not doing any investigative journalism. And again, I was a huge fan of Candace Owens, but something shifted after she met Erica Kirk. I don't know what it is. It just feels like it's her going against Israel an awful lot, but there's other things going on in America right now that are kind of a big deal. Not saying Charlie Kirk's assassination was not a big deal, but we're going in circles here. So I think the realm of YouTube is now getting fatigued of the Charlie Kirk circle of going around and around, and now that it all seems like it feels like they're all buddy behind closed doors. If I'm being honest, it feels like they're all friends and they're all in on it or something. And I don't like the idea of being called a federal bot, because I say, hey, Candace, something is up here. You change your tune a little bit. You're not talking about Trump. You're not talking about Erica or Turning Point as hard as you were last week, last Thursday. And all of a sudden something shifted in you. And now people are gravitating in droves not to watch her video, but to read the thousands and thousands of comments as to, Candace, what happened? Were you paid off? Were you bought out? That's all they're saying. Go to the channel. You'll see it. It's just, I did it the other day. Thousands. Like at least 100,000 comments of people saying the same thing. Something is off with Candace. So eventually you're going to have to take her fans serious and say, look, we're being like you, Candace. You taught us how to be investigative. And we're asking you the question, what changed? So, again, if you're tired of being run around in circles and being laughed at and made fun of because you're commenting, asking the tough questions, then welcome to my channel and stick around, folks. This is, I'm telling you, this is going to explode over Christmas. See you tomorrow.